Okay guys, for challenge number 10, we need to create an app to have a register of all my expenses, right? So as we saw before, we need to store a lot of data, and for this we need to use the database function of my app inventor. Yep. So the way I want to my app works is as follows. Yeah, I need to be able to save some data, of course. So I need a button to say save. Yeah. And also I need to be able to insert my ID, the tag, the ID of the element I want to save, and also the value that I want to save. So I need two text boxes, and I want to specify to the user the elements that I need to write into these boxes. So for this is tag, and for this is value. Yeah. And so with this I can save all the data into my text box, into my database, sorry. And also I need to be able to check one element of my list and check the value. So in this case I'm going to use the list picker. Why is that? I'm sorry, because the list view it's only to display, but in this case I want to display and to show me, when I select one element, show me the value of my elements. Yes. So maybe I'm going to need more elements, but yeah, I guess this is enough for now. So in my blog section I am going to add, of course, the function of my button, and when I click the button I want to storage data into my database, right? And as we did before, the tag is going to be specified into the text for the first text box, and the value is the text from the second text box. Right? And also the elements of my list picker, I need it to be the elements of my database. So I get this one, get tags, right? And I can leave it in here into the click button function. And also, if you remember, we have this before picking and after picking. So I guess for me it's better if I use it in this manner. Yeah. So when I choose something from my list picker, after I choose something, I want to display the value for that element. So I also need a label to display the value. Yeah. And so the text of the second label, actually I don't know why, okay. It could be this first label because I haven't used it yet. So the text from this label, it's going to be the element of my database, right? And what is going to be the element of this database? Well, it's the selection from my list picker. Yeah? Remember, we have a list picker, and then when I select something, the selection corresponds to the tag of the element that I want to show. So the way this works is I insert elements into my database, and then when I select one element from my list picker, the value for this tag it's going to be displayed into my label. So let's check this working. And so here we are again. And as I told you, I want to save some data into my database. Yes. So if I select the list picker, all the data from my database is going to be displayed. And as I told you before, we need to be careful and delete all the data since the beginning. And because I didn't, we can see we have the previous data. Yes. So we need to add this part. Yes, we need to be really careful to always delete the data. As I told you before, if we don't delete the data from other programs, because it's only a single database, so this data is stored into your cell phone. So the next time that you are going to use the database, all the data from previous programs are going to be displayed. So remember always to have this button to clear all data. Yeah. So with this, now I delete all the elements, and if I ask to show me the elements of my database, of course I don't have any of this. Okay. So now I want to save some data into my database. So I want to save shoes, and I want to save the value of this. Yes, so I have shoes and 100. And also I want to save a shirt, and maybe the shirt is, I don't know, maybe $20. Yeah, and last one, maybe a skirt. And this has to be like $15. Yeah. So you see, I have all the elements of my database. Yeah, I have my shoes, my skirt, my shirt, but I want to know the value for this tag. So when I click in here, skirt, 15 appeared in here. So okay, let me do this again. So shoes, and then I have $120. And if I select the shirt this time, I have $20. Yeah, I can save data, and I can use this data to display my tags and check the data for each tag. Yeah, here is it. Now I need to be able to perform the addition for all the elements that I bought and have the total to be able to see if I spent too much money. Yeah, so I need another button that is going to be called a total, yeah, to display the total of my boughts, of my expenses. Yes, and now from blocks, of course, when I click the third button that is called the total button, what do I need to do? Well, I need to add all the values from my database, and this is a little bit tricky to do. So when I click the third button, that is the total button, I need to perform the addition of all the values from my database. Yes, and to perform this addition, I need to have a variable called total, right? You remember, if I need to perform some additions, I need to store this value somewhere. So in this case, the name of the variable where I'm going to store the total value of my expenses is total, and I want it to be equals to 0. Yeah, so command in here, and that's it. And as I told you, a good practice is to always clear the data when you finish using it. Yeah. So in the same button that I used for clear all the data from my database, I am going to reset the value of my variable. So this is, as I told you, for a good practice. Yes. So now, when I click this third button, I want to perform the addition of all the elements from my database. So for this, I need to use a for cycle. Do you remember this? I need to perform the addition of all the elements that is part of my list. Remember that my database is like a list, is like a table. So I have a list of elements. And what is the list of these elements? Well, of course, these elements correspond to the tags of all these elements. Yes? So for all the tags into my database, what I am going to say, well, I am going to update the value of the variable total. Yeah? And what is the new value for total? Well, it's the addition of the previous value of total, yeah, and I need to perform the addition of this value with the value of the tag that I am reading right now. So from my database, I get this, yes, get the value of the element of my list. Which element? Well, the element called item. Yeah, so I get from item this thing. Yeah, and when of course, when I finish this cycle, I need to display the result into my label number 4. Yeah, so this is it, and the result is the value of total. Yeah, and that's it. So first of all, I want to delete all. Why I want to delete all? Because I have some data from previous work, so I want to forget all of this. Yeah, so I delete all, and then if I ask a total, I have a 0 because I have no elements into my database. Yeah, so I'm going to save elements again. Maybe it's shirt. Okay, and the value for my shirt is $20. Yeah, so I have this one. Yeah, and I can show you from my list picker that I only have this shirt. And if I ask to my program to show me the total, well, it's only 20 because I have no more. Yeah, this time I'm going to show to save the shirt and the skirt. Yes, the skirt, I don't know, maybe the skirt is something like this. And as you can see, now I have 2 elements. Yes, and if I ask for the total, I have 15, right? And so as you can see, I can have more and more elements. I don't know, maybe okay, first of all, let me delete all again, and this was a skirt, and I save it, and so I can see that I have my skirt, and I have no, I don't know, maybe some short, and it's 25. Yeah, and as you can see, I have this, and also I can have, I don't know, maybe some socks. Yeah, and the socks is like $10. Yeah, and I have all this, and a last one, maybe some shoes, and let it be $100. Yeah, and then as you can see, we have all of this. Yes? So, if I ask the total, I will have 165 of expenses. So this is the basis for challenge number 10. Of course, you need to add more things, you need to be able to delete this and have a good display and add more properties. So I know you can do it. Have practice. If you have any question, you can ask me, and see you in the next video.